He's short, bald, chubby, and neurotic, but now he wants to be the master of his own domain.
Yes!
No, not George Costanza, Mike Costanza, a struggling actor and real estate broker who is Jerry's buddy from his Queens college days.
My name is Mike Costanza, and I'm here to announce that I am the real Costanza.
That's right. Mike says when Jerry was working on creating the show, he called him with some exciting news.
Jerry said out of our friendship, he was naming the best friend on his show after me, and I was very touched.
Oh.
He's been with Jerry to the movies, to Chinese restaurants, to the airports, on vacation. They've double dated together. Those are most of the things Jerry and I did together.
But Mike wants everyone to know that there are differences too.
George is a neurotic, self-absorbed loser that we all know, and he's a wimp. You know, Mike Costanza is a stand-up guy.
And you can read all about it in Mike's new book, The Real Seinfeld, as told by the real Costanza.
I just really wanted to distinguish between Mike Costanza and George Costanza.
But when it comes to saying goodbye to Seinfeld, Mike Costanza is a lot like the rest of us.
I consider myself Jerry's #1 fan, and I'm sorry to see the show go. I'm happy for Jerry.
All right.
There you go.
He's not a soup Nazi, but he played one on TV.
What? No soup for you!
The classic Seinfeld character was actually a takeoff on this guy, this notoriously surly real-life New York soup slinger, Al Yagana.
Get out of here!
But now life is imitating art as Larry Thomas, the actor, is going into the soup business for real. Our April Wilson caught up with a man who calls himself the Soup Maestro.
My father was a chef, so it was actually the last thing I ever wanted to do was be a chef. That's why I went into acting. So here I am, following in Dad's footsteps, and life is funny.
We thought it would be funny to have Larry bring a batch of his soup around the corner to the guy who inspired his TV character.
You're pushing your luck, little man.
So in an ideal world, we would exchange soups.
Yeah, I would give him this, he would let me taste some of his, you know, but I don't think it's going to be an ideal world. I think he's been angry ever since, you know, I did that TV show, so. Of course, I've never met him.
When we arrived, Al was none too anxious to leave his soup kitchen, but after some coaxing, he broke the ice. Well, sort of.
I just want to tell you, I really feel sorry for you. I swear to God, you should come talk to you. I showed the document.
I didn't understand a word he said.
Neither did we, but he was back soon enough.
I really feel sorry for you. If you came to me, I would give you a job.
But Larry wasn't looking for a job. He just wanted Al to do a taste test. Easier said than done.
Good, come on,
What?
please, for me.
I don't want to put my life in danger. It's
I
poison.
promise.
But eventually they parted with a handshake.
It was nice to meet you. He was very nice. He was very concerned with my welfare, that I was getting myself in trouble with an inferior soup product.
That is like a donkey meat. I cannot give it to my public customer.
Adios, muchacho.
No, it's not true. Those damn culottes you made him wear when he was 5.
They're not the first TV mom and dad. There were the Bradys, the Bunkers, the Cosbys, and the Cleavers. But these particular parents don't compare to them.
Compared to the Cleavers? I mean, we steal batteries. They didn't.
And unlike other sitcom couples, their TV son is Jerry Seinfeld, the quirkiest comic ever to hit prime time.
No question about it.
Jerry Seinfeld here.
Barney Martin has earned his trench coat, autographed by the cast of Seinfeld. For 9 years, he's played Jerry's penny-pinching dad, Morty. Liz Sheridan plays Jerry's smothering mother, Helen, and together they've brought an added comic dimension to the Seinfeld cast.
Jerry, you're getting your father too excited.
Now that it's all over, their feelings are mixed. A feeling shared by the entire cast, especially Jerry, Julia, Jason, and Michael on the last day of shooting.
Those four, they were breaking each other up for hours and hours and hours, laughing hysterically at each other. Before that, an hour before that, somebody would break down and cry. Before that, something funny would happen. I mean, it's not just one emotion.
Liz and Barney wouldn't give us any secrets about the finale, other than they think it's really funny.
I can be bought. How much? And I'll tell you the whole thing, the whole plot.
Mega hit show finales. Cheers comes to mind.
You people are as dear to me as my own family.
and MASH as well are bittersweet for the adoring public, but can be a double edge for the cast. David Wild is the author of Seinfeld, the totally unauthorized tribute, and he says Jerry Seinfeld may have a hard time after his finale.
My sense of it is that these people have really had a life-changing experience. The next stage is, what do you do after being part of the greatest show, arguably in the history of television?
Seinfeld may be ending, but Barney and Liz will go on in reruns as Jerry's parents and in real life as a pair of veteran actors with lots of work behind as well as ahead of them.
I'll play your father, and you'll play a young girl.
I would like to see that.
Poor Murphy Brown, she can never get a break. 5 years ago, she got flack from former VP Dan Quayle for having a baby out of wedlock.
What I didn't like about Murphy Brown was the message that it was sending. And it was somewhat glorifying illegitimacy.
Now, once again, the feisty anchor of the fictional FYI is jangling the nerves of the politically correct, to the delight of Marvin Kittman, TV critic for New York's Newsday.
Murphy Brown is a unique character in television. She's a heroic woman.
This season, Murphy discovered she has breast cancer and must receive chemotherapy. On Wednesday night, Murphy ended up smoking marijuana to relieve the nausea from the treatments.
Usually when people smoke pot, they're only funny to themselves, but here I was laughing.
Kittman says the episode was handled extremely well.
I don't think that this episode glorifies the use of drugs any more than saying that the episode Murphy Brown is glorifying breast cancer.
But it did not sit well with the Federal Drug Enforcement Agency, who accused the show and CBS of doing a disservice. They issued a statement which says marijuana, quote, is not medicine and has no legitimate recognized medical use. More dangerously, the show sends the message to our children, marijuana must be okay because it's medicine. It may not legally be defined as medicine, but some do use the weed to relieve nausea and pain. In fact, there is still a government research program that supplies marijuana to a select group for a study program. George McMahon from Iowa is one of a very few who receives government-issued pot. He has a terminal genetic joint disease and smokes to relieve his muscle spasms.
I got it because I didn't want to die.
You're really hogging the joint.
So maybe Murphy did ruffle a few feathers, but the producers and star Candice Bergen seem to thrive on dealing with issues that are current and controversial.
This could be a sweep stunt, but I think for Candice Bergen, this was a very serious subject. She really put her neck on the line by doing breast cancer.
It's the stunning ending to the most acclaimed show on television, the shocking cut to black right in the middle of the climactic scene.
I was left feeling empty. It was like a cheap one-night stand.
The morning shows were buzzing with speculation. Did the finale work, or was it a total cheat?
Was not the ending a lot of people expected.
Right. Everyone in the nation's like, what the?
The controversy is even making front-page news. The New York Times weighed in with a positive review, but the New York Post says Tony and gang whack fans.
It was crazy. It seemed as if your TV had gone on the fritz just when you were going to get the payoff of this show that's as great as any drama in the history of television.
And many fans are feeling nothing but outrage.
I thought my cable went out. And then all the credits, I was like, that's horrible. That was just such a bad ending.
I thought the ending was horrible. It didn't answer any questions.
So what did that abrupt ending really mean? Was Tony Soprano, played by actor James Gandolfini, really rubbed out as he ate onion rings with his wife and son? Check out this clue from a scene that ran earlier this season. Listen as Tony Soprano's brother-in-law muses about being whacked.
You probably don't even hear it when it happens, right?
And that might be the final word for those who watched the last scene of the most celebrated show of our time. You couldn't believe it was happening.
Don't stop. He became part of TV history in the climactic scene of The Sopranos finale. Now, Inside Edition has tracked down that nameless extra. Paolo Calandrea is 47 years old and owns this pizza joint in Pendle, Pennsylvania. He was discovered by casting agent Eileen DeNobili, who was sitting in that pizza parlor when she got an email that the show was looking for an Italian-looking actor between 30 and 50 years old.
It sort of clicked at the instantaneous moment while I was sitting here. Would you want to do this? And, you know, and he loved it. He was so up for the challenge.
Colandrea, who was born in Italy, became part of TV history here at Holston's old-fashioned ice cream parlor in Bloomfield, New Jersey. Wearing a members-only jacket, he sits at the counter and ominously eyes Tony Soprano, played by James Gandolfini. The stranger in the members-only jacket was sitting right here. Tony, Carmela, and AJ were sitting in this booth right here, eating their onion rings. The stranger walked by the booth and into the bathroom. What happened next is up to the viewer to interpret. So after that controversial cut to black that abruptly ended the show, was Tony whacked by the pizza guy's character?
I'm not telling. I'm not telling.
There could be clues to Tony's fate in The Godfather. After all, The Sopranos climax echoes the legendary scene when Al Pacino enters a restaurant bathroom and comes out blowing away his father's enemies.
What'd you think about the ending?
It's Johnny Sacks.
How you doing?
I caught up with Sopranos star Vince Curatola. His character, New York mob boss Johnny Sack, died from cancer in one of the final episodes.
This fellow that he keeps staring at.
Right.
Probably killed him.
You think?
I think so.
So what really happens to Tony?
I feel he was killed at that moment, yeah. I do.